Hello everyone, this is Joe Watterson here with a production tutorial. Gonna today be working on creating a simple techno drum beat. This is for people who are interested in making music and recently purchased a DAW, also known as a digital audio workstation. The DAW is the primary element of creating music. It's used in all forms. Many artists that you may listen to use this program to create, record, and share their music. The one that I will be using today is called Ableton Live 10, and gonna be using this tutorial as a means for people who just got into the world of production and they see it and they just don't know where to start. And so we're gonna take a look at the electronic music and just make a simple drum beat. So upon opening Ableton, as it loads up, we'll click Tab to change the screen because I'm not too familiar with how it's meant to work here. But if you click Tab, it just changes a little bit. And so you have two MIDI channels available to you and two audio channels. MIDI channels is where you can allow an instrument to be inserted, a digital one, and you can play notes on a virtual keyboard that would appear down here in the bottom pane. To begin, we'll click on drums, already selected, and we'll click and hold drum rack and drag it into the first MIDI channel. The name will change to drum rack, and in the bottom pane, in the bottom left, you'll see the actual device appear. Next, we'll select our three instruments, starting with our kick. And we'll go to drum hits and kick. There's a very large list, and there's many sounds, and what you can do is just click and, find whatever one you like. Super wonky. So interesting. Simple. Ideally for techno, you want to use something that has a very full sound, very solid, with an oomph. And so for this example, I'm going to use one that's called Kick 909 Multi. It's a little ways down the list, but it's a very solid one. So we'll click and we'll hold it, and we'll drag down to C1 and add it to the drum rack. And once it loads in, the waveform of the kick will appear. And if you notice with the label down below, you have a little play button, and this is just so you can test the sample and hear in your ears. It's a very solid one. And so next we're gonna select our hi-hats. We'll close this list and we'll open up the other. And now, same thing. There's no right or wrong answer. You can click, test, play, whatever you'd like. It's all about just finding what you enjoy. Ideally for techno, well, there's only two types, and there's closed hi-hats and open hi-hats. Mainly an open hi-hat would be used, but closed hi-hats are also equally used, so it just very depends. For this example, I'm going to use one that's called Open Dirty Chekhov. Just gotta scroll down a little bit to get to it. Alright, right here. You click and you drag down to the C#1. And next we're gonna pick up the shaker. With the shaker, you want to pick one that has a sort of elongated sound. A lot of them are very staccato and have a very sharp attack, and it just fades away quickly. You kind of want one that kind of rings out a little bit. And so for the one I'm going to use, it's called Electrified 6. And we just gotta scroll just a smidge down. And you just click and you drag it down to D1. And if you want, you can just hit the plays just to hear the sounds again. Now we can assemble the beat. So we'll create a MIDI clip and we'll draw in the notes for the beat. And it's Very simple. We'll start with the first MIDI channel with the drum rack, and we'll click in the first bar. I'll just drag it out 4 bars. And now you right click and you can click insert MIDI clips, or alternatively, you can hit Control Shift N. Little bar up here, and I'll show you that the MIDI clip is now in. And below, you have the little piano roll with the 3 instruments that we've added. We'll first start with the kick pattern. Each of these is a little block, and so we'll click in the double click in the first one to set the notes, and we want to drag it out so it's 1 beat, and that's to the 1.2. So you'll hover on the right side of the note until the mouse pointer changes into a bracket, and you'll click, and you'll just drag the note out. And now we want this note to just repeat itself all the way for the 4 bars. And to do that, you can redo the same thing again and just drag it out. It takes a little too much time. So instead, you can just have this note selected, right click, and hit duplicate. And the keyboard control for that is Control D. And so you just want to fill it all the way out. Next, for the hi-hats, you want the hi-hat to hit on the offbeat. The kick will hit on that downbeat, and you want the hi-hat on the upbeat. And so within this beat, there are 4 blocks. You want to click on the 3rd one. And then we'll click at the beginning of the beat. I'll drag it out to 1.2. So if you see this blue bar, and it's highlighted the whole section and not just the one note. We could highlight the one note, but the blue bar is only right there. So if we hit duplicate, it will just appear right next to it. We don't want that. So we'll highlight the whole bar, the whole beat, and hit duplicate, and it appears in that 3rd spot in the next beat. And we'll do that all the way through. Next, we'll add in our shaker, and we're just going to have this start on the beginning of the 4th beat. Double click to add your notes. And this time we do want it side by side, so just hit Control D 2 times. That creates a little triplet. And for this time, you'll want to highlight the whole measure. So start at the beginning, click, and drag until the blue bar reaches measure 2. That way the 3 notes are highlighted. And then hit Control D 3 times. And now it is finished. We have successfully made a simple drum beat. If you go to the top and click the stop button, it will set the cursor to the beginning and just hit play. And that's all it is to creating that beat. For any follow-up advice, if you want to go a little more in depth, what we can do is in this bottom left corner, you can flip back to the original screen, and you can add in audio effects to help shape how things are going to sound. So if we listen to that kick, we can go into the audio effects. We can click on EQ8, click, and we'll drag it down all the way to the right side where it says insert. And this is a EQ where you can now adjust which frequencies will play. So if we play the sample, you'll see the wave pattern as it pops up. So if you notice, the left side are the much lower frequencies and the right side are the much higher. And so it's very stronger right around the 80 hertz. So if we wanted to get rid of those lowers and make it or get rid of those high frequencies and want to make it a much stronger low instrument, you could just take the EQ, curve it down at the edge, and then drag it into the left. So then these high ones are not included. Anything that's within the blue bar will be included. The black. So we play it now. It's much darker, much like stronger. So if we play the beat again, oh, it applied to all the instruments. That's my bad. You want to drag it just inside the bar right here, so it applies just to the kick drum. Because when we flip to the hi-hat, it's not there anymore. Now let's try it again. And so beyond that, it's just a lot more of tweaking and doing what you would like to do. I hope you find this helpful, and thank you.